Happy Tuesday, folks. Thanks for tuning in. It's time to stop, drop, and roll because tonight's episode will be fire. We have 2 more weeks left of Wednesdays in the Word. It has been a great time of worship already, so make sure that you set your alarm for tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. We will be hearing the word of the Lord from Dr. Maurice Watson, pastor of the Metropolitan Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. We hope that you will join us virtually in revival this week and be blessed. As we get ready to go back to church, the Young Adult Ministry has been having Soulful Sundays, an online Bible study series for the month of October. These sessions are being held via Zoom, so make sure that you register today on the church's website. With all that is going on, the month of October is also Fire Safety Month. If you watched last week, you saw that we went off campus for some fun in the Houston streets. This week, we're taking another field trip. We're going across the street to Houston Fire Station 25 to speak with Mr. Albert Bennett, Senior Community Liaison of the Houston Fire Department. We'll be taking a tour of the facility and discussing best practices for the prevention of fires and what to do in the event of a fire. This should be fun. Let's go. We're here with Mr. Albert Bennett, Senior Community Liaison for the City of Houston. Any question that you can have about safety in your community, he can answer it. So, the goal of Fire Prevention Month is to raise fire safety awareness to keep our families and our homes safe. What is the history behind why this month started?
Well, this month started in 1871. There was a traumatic fire in Chicago. That was the Great Chicago Fire. In that fire, there was over 250 people perished. We lost over 17,000 buildings, and it was kind of the moniker for this to get started because after that fire, they wanted to do a commemorative type of event so everybody could become aware so that wouldn't happen again. So that's where Fire Prevention Month started from.
Nice. Now, this fire station has been here for many years. We're right across the street at Wheeler Avenue, so we've seen it for decades. What is some of the history behind this building? When was it erected?
Well, this building was erected in the late 70s, early 1980s. It was commissioned by, I think it was Bob Lanier that was the mayor at the time. It's been here. Its primary focus was for the universities because they were approximately a couple blocks apart. So with the new McGregor development, the expansion and the overall commitment has grown. One of the things about the Houston Fire Department, we have what we call a still alarm. In that area, you're responsible for everything up to 3-mile radius within that area. So this facility covered all the way from, I would say, 288 all the way back to Highway 6. I mean, not Highway 6, but Spur 5, I think it is. Which is on the other
3-mile radius.
Yeah,
right?
3-mile radius.
So even in just 3 miles, Houston is huge, and so is this area. How many calls do you all respond to in a day?
Well, in this area, it depends on the area that you're in, because in this area is very densely populated. So they can get anywhere from 12 to about 2,000 calls a day.
Wow. So what are some of the main causes of house fires?
The primary cause of house fires is careless cooking. 84% of house fires are caused by careless cooking.
What is careless cooking?
Careless cooking is leaving things on the stove unattended, not knowing how to react or be very expeditious with your effort to extinguish a fire. Fire grows, it doubles in size every second. So if you start out with a small fire, in a couple seconds that fire has doubled in size. So one of the things that we try to do is to get the fire in the beginning stage, which is called incipient stage. If you can get that 90% of the time, the fire will be extinguished. But most of the time with careless cooking, the person that actually is doing the cooking has not attended to what we call a bean fire, where you leave something on the stove unattended. So that starts the fire. Another thing is the product that you're using to cook with, like cooking oil. You cannot extinguish a grease fire with water. these are some of the things that goes to the lack of education, which is my part, is to educate the community as to how to prevent this so that it doesn't happen again.
So when we're talking about prevention, when you see a fire and you said it doubles, you said every second, that's really fast. And what do we do? Of course, our first instinct is to panic for some people. What are you supposed to do in that moment? Do you just drop everything and call the fire department or try to put it out yourself?
First thing is, if you're there when you see these flames actually begin to rise, the first thing we try to allow you to do, because most houses, if it's multi-dwelling, which is an apartment like that, those houses are required to have a fire extinguisher. A lot of people haven't practiced using a fire extinguisher, so to them, it's not something that they actually think that they're apt to use, which is another component that we go out and we teach fire safety. We teach you how to use a fire extinguisher. The one thing you want to do, if you're there, is remove that. It takes three things to create a fire. It takes something to burn, oxygen, and ignition. So you eliminate either one of those and the fire goes out. Well, what you do with a fire extinguisher is two ways. You can create a barrier so that there's no oxygen getting in, eliminates the fire. Simply putting a lid on a grease fire would extinguish a fire because it takes oxygen to burn. So those are some of the things that we try to make you aware of, but the one thing I would tell everybody is to actually practice. It's better to need it and not have it than to have that knowledge and not need it. The one thing we can never try to overemphasize is the fact that if there's an opportunity for you to prevent a fire or to put out a fire, you must know how to do that. And how you find out how to do it is by practicing, simulating the fact that, hey, this happened, let me practice it. If you never have a house fire, you never get to use it. Great for you. But if you do have it, now you have some basis as to how to put it out.
Now, the regular old stop, drop, and roll, is that when a fire is just on us?
Yes. See, stop, drop, and roll. Fire is the one thing that actually gets people in trouble because they don't know the chemical or the molecular makeup of fire, and they don't understand the principles of fire. Fire goes the path of least resistance, and it always rises. Heat and smoke rises. So one thing, most houses have about a 10-foot ceiling. So the first thing that's going to happen, that fire is going to go up before it goes out. So it's going to go up until it hits the ceiling, and then it goes across the ceiling. Well, if you are not in that room and you come into that room, you might see the fire on the stove and think that that flame is only over there. What we call thermal layering, that thermal layering has hit the ceiling and it's starting to bake down. So you will see the fire over there, but the heat is on the other side of the room because it goes to the path of least resistance. So if it goes up, it's going to hit the wall and it's going to go across the wall. And if there's 4 walls to a common room, now it starts to bang down. So even though you only see the flame over there, the thermal layering is on this side. So as you enter the room, one inhalation of superheated air will cause your lungs and everything to disintegrate. You hit the door, the normal body temperature is 98.6 degrees. The average temperature of a house fire is 12 to 1500 degrees. So one inhalation of that superheated air sears your internal organs, and that's where you lay. So that's the thing that I want people to understand. Stop, drop, and roll is when your person is on fire. What we try to preach is get low and stay low. So if you get down, now the thermal layering takes a little bit longer to get to. So if you see the fire, and if there's a fire that you can't extinguish or you can't get to it, just simply close the door, call 911. Because remember the properties of fire, you need oxygen. So the oxygen in that room will quickly be suffocated and that fire will put itself out.
Now, speaking of fire and smoke rising, smoke detectors. Now, one thing that I have heard on these Zoom calls now is the people's smoke detector chirp going off.
Yes.
We don't change those batteries. It's something that we don't really think about and we just kind of ignore it. How important is it to change those batteries and how often should they be changed?
That's a very important question because a lot of people don't understand. We have a program that calls change the clock, change the battery. When you fall back, now we're going to fall back because it's falling. When you fall back, we ask that if you have a smoke detector, all smoke detectors are backed up with a battery, even if you have inline wire, even if they're inline and done professionally, there's still a battery component in there. So that battery is going to chirp after about 12 months. So what we recommend that you do, every time you change the clock, you fall back, go in and change the battery. And you do not change just one, you change them all. And also, if we spring forward, change them again. The only line of defense that you have in a house fire, if you're asleep, is that smoke detector. Okay. And that's only giving you about a 3-minute window.
And does that alert the fire department?
Well, If you have what they call a monitor system, then it will. Most houses don't have a monitor system. Most what we call target hazards like buildings, supermarkets, or what you call hospitals and schools, they have what we call a monitor system. So someone is monitoring that system all the time. In that case, then it will alert us. Then we'll come over and then we'll check the control panel and find out where exactly that fire started. But most houses, smoke detector is your only line of defense.
All right, so talk to us about Get Along Houston.
All right, we have a program in the Houston Fire Department called Get Along Houston. That program is to try to give every citizen in the Houston municipality a free working smoke detector. These smoke detectors are donated by stakeholders throughout the city like Walmart, Centerpoint, and those big stakeholders. They donate these systems to us. The problem that we have in the fire department is trying to make sure that the people that actually need them receive them. My task to you in the church is to help us with that. We want to make sure that if you have someone that you know needs this, just have them contact the fire department, or they can call us. Our number is 832-394-6000. Tell them their address, and if you can't install it, we'll come out and install it for you.
Nice, for free.
For free. This is totally free program.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. Well, take us through the process from the firefighter's perspective. When, in the event of a fire, what happens right here in this garage?
Well, in the event of a fire, the first thing happens, someone has called 911. We have what we call an enhanced 911 system. So as soon as you call, every cell phone has what they have the capability to pinpoint your address within a 2-block radius. So what happens is that even though you're calling from the cell, when you call and you give us an address, our monitor tells us electronically exactly where that call has originated from. So our second thing is that what we call a booper. It will go off in this house. Every light in this fire station comes on, and it gives us an automatic update as to the address. And then when we get on there, that address, as you know, is enhanced. So we have a computerized object that shows us the quickest route to your location. We have a 2-tier system. Whenever that ambulance is called out for a fire, that fire truck is called out for a fire, the ambulance will assist. And a lot of people don't understand our 2-tier system. Every firefighter in the fire department is also trained as an EMT. So a lot of times when you call for a medical emergency, you will get a fire truck first. And the reason being with that is that so we can get to you and start the chain of survival as quickly as possible.
Well, if that's all we have to talk about right now, we would love to take a tour of the facility and of the fire truck so that we can get a good look at what goes on in here.
No problem. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for the information.
Looking forward to hearing from you. Most stations are set up like this. You have what we call officers' quarters. The officers' quarters is going to be off to themselves because they are responsible for the day-to-day operations of the fire station. So the officers have their own quarters. So you'll have, this is a newly renovated one, and most of them are just like this. They set up with a captain's office. You have an exercise room. This is where, by law, most guys that are in the fire service, we have an obligation to do at least 1 hour a day physical training and activity. So that's why you see the basketball goals at every fire station. That's why you see the weight equipment at every fire station. Because our job is physically demanding and they want us to be able to perform the job at our highest. So you'll have this type of setup in every fire station. One of the most important things about fire stations is the fact that we cook. So we eat here. So when we come to the fire station at 6:30 in the morning, we're here for 24 hours. So we're here until 6:30 the next day. And so as we come to work, we are responsible for feeding ourselves. So we're responsible for cooking, we're responsible for cleaning, we're responsible for keeping the maintenance of the station up. We don't have a maid service. When you're a firefighter, you will sweep floors, you will mop floors, you will wash dishes. That's part of your duty. So this is where we actually bond. This is our bond, and this is the clubhouse.
Whole facility is very nice.
Yeah.
The happy crew.
Yeah, this is a good station. Every fire station also has what we call a watch office. So the watch office is a pretty important job because that's the guy that doesn't get to sleep as much. They're the guys that are responsible for people when they ring the doorbell outside, and they're responsible for opening the doors, closing the doors, manning the phones, and things like that. So when you're in the watch office, most of the time, you have a responsibility 24/7 of making sure that anybody that comes in, any calls that comes in, you're responsible for taking them, and that's the duty of the watch office.
So with a 24-hour shift, you can't sleep at all.
Well, you sleep when you can, and that's another thing that people don't understand. So we're here for 24 hours. You rest in between your calls. There's no definitive time where you can say the fire station is closed, because it's not. In some instances, you might get 5 calls that last 24 hours. Some days you might get 2 calls that last 12 hours. So you get the rest when you can. So we've mastered that, and that's been one of the things that we actually are proud of, because we find the time to make this work. You come around, this is one of the fire stations that is equipped with the exhaust system. One of the things to combat cancer from the emissions of the fire truck and the ambulance, we have this exhaust system. This exhaust system, while it's sitting here, this is still emitting fumes. So this captures the fume, takes it out to the outside. It's a little safety precaution for us as firefighters. This is one of the things that has saved a lot of lives and that we've been fighting for a while. And I thank the guys at the union and the fire chief and the guys like that has helped make this a reality. Go inside here. This is set up for approximately 6 guys to sit back here. Well, 4, you can have 4 and you can have 2 on this side. So approximately 4 to 6 guys can sit back here comfortably. You have to be able to don, which means put on this equipment within about 2 minutes. Going down the road, put it on effectively, because this is our lifeline. This is fire retardant, it's not fire resistant. All right, it will burn. It burns at approximately 500 degrees for 1 hour. So if this guy's trapped in the house and he's trapped for over an hour at 500 degrees, this material will burn. It's made out of Kevlar. There's 3 tiers on there. So also, this is where our firefighter sits. Each one of these positions have a distinct job. So on this side, you will have the guy that's first line. He's gonna grab the hose. The other side, you have what they call a plug man. He's gonna jump out and he's gonna grab the plug and hook the hose up for the water to flow.
So everybody knows their assignment before they get
sit.
Okay.
Yeah. Right here, this is the captain. He's gonna lead the attack. He sits right here. He's also assisting. He's the eyes and ears of this guy that's driving, so he's watching and monitoring everything. This is the guy that makes it pretty much go make the decision for the guys to follow. So this is the captain, all right? Also, with that small compartment, he still has to don his equipment with the same amount of time. So on this side over here, this right here is called quick lane. This is for like car fires, trash can fires, dumpster fires. We pull this out so it's a little quicker to get access to. Come around here. This is where what we call the engineer operator, EO. This is the driver of the apparatus. He's also responsible for maintaining and getting water to us while we fight the fire. He has what we call this pump panel that he has to become an expert on. We practice on this probably 2 or 3 times a month. This is actually gonna dictate how much water is coming through, the pressure that is coming through, based upon the height and the amount of hose that we have on the ground. All these things is operated by the engineer operator, okay?
So if anybody wants to come take a tour up here, they can
they can take a tour. You
come
have
and
to
ask
call
or
down.
offer.
Prior to COVID, we were open, we're 365, 24/7. So prior to COVID, there were some restrictions for us coming into the fire station. But as we start to get away from COVID, I would encourage everybody that wants to find out about the fire department to please visit your local fire station. Just make sure that the guys know that we are here for support, because right now, this job is pretty much a thankless job until you're on the other end of that phone. And our job never stops. We're here to help. Most of the time when we get a call, it's someone else's worst day of their life. So you kind of understand that we have to put aside our feelings and have a job to do. So come by sometimes, just say thank you, even though there's no fire. All right, so inside of here, we have all kind of tools. All right. We have rolling steel doors. These are tools. These additional hose and adapters for hose. This is a spanner wrench that allows us to unhook the fire hydrants. Inside of this cab on the other side, there's a reservoir that holds about 500 gallons of water. So each one of these fire trucks has the capability of pumping about 500 gallons of water before they hook into a fire hydrant. Okay, so these are some of the pneumatic tools. We have some tools that are forcible entry tools. Then in this one we have additional hose and some what we call rabbit tools that allows us to get inside doors that are jammed that we can't actually get into. This is the firefighter friend. This is a Halligan tool. Every firefighter you see will have this combination when he makes entry, Halligan tool and axe. Okay.
So for someone who's thinking about getting into the
that's a
field,
great
what
question.
should they know?
All right. So one thing I want you to know about becoming a firefighter, it's a physically demanding job. We have what we call physical agility test, a PAT test, that you have to pass. It incurs running 1.5 miles in 13 minutes, going up 7 flights of stairs in 3 minutes 45 seconds, and carrying an 85-pound dummy 65 feet. You don't have to actually carry it, you just got to drag it. So those are some of the things that the PAT tests you on. Another thing right now, they lowered the number of college hours that you have to become a firefighter. The college hours right now, I think it's 24 hours with a 2.5 GPA. So basically, some kids that's coming out of high school, some high schools do have what they call fire service classes that you can come out as a certified firefighter. You still have to go into the Houston Fire Department and take what we call our fast track class, but you hit the streets in about 3 months as opposed to a general class that takes about 7 to 8 months.
Okay.
Oh, each station too has its own logo. As you can see, Station 25 has the first in, first out, firewalker deal. So each station is responsible for, coming up with their own logo, which it's pretty cool because it gives you some insight as to what you deem yourself. So that's a good thing. That's what I call a booth.
Does that mean a fire?
No, six person.
Okay.
That's what I am. If we go through this, there's other compartments on this side. Okay. These are forcible entry tools, right? It's K-12 saw. That's for rolling steel doors. Like the steel doors that you see on here, we can cut through that. Some of these have diamond tips, carbide tips, and actually cut through that like butter. We practice on these all the time. These tools, the most of the job that we do is practice. You get to practice with these tools at least 2 or 3 times a month. When you're in the academy, you're pretty much doing this in phases, but once you get to the station, you practice with what we call continuing education, and that happens a lot. So these are some of the tools that we have. And as you can see, this is our EMS section. This is our jump kit. So what happens, as soon as we get to your location, if it's a medical emergency, we're gonna grab this jump kit. We're gonna come in, and based upon the call that we get, we might have to get an AED, we might have to get, this is the defibrillator, we might have to take that. Based upon the severity of a motor vehicle accident, we'll take this here bag. This is our sharp container, but whenever there's a medical emergency, we always grab this jump kit. All right.
Okay, so in the event that both trucks are gone, both the ambulance and the fire truck, then what happens?
Well, then you go to the second. So like I explained to you, we have what we call a still alarm. So if this location is out on a call and someone drops a call in this area, the second closest within that 2-mile radius, because those areas overlap. So the next station that's closest to it, because what we have is an enhanced monitoring system. So even if the truck is on the street, we will know exactly where that truck is at all times. So it might be coming back from another run, even though it's passing through this territory. We can alert that or drop a call to that apparatus, and then they can respond in this area. So pretty much, you have the ability to protect an area, but even though it's not your area, you still will be called to some areas that's not yours, that's not in your still allowed territory.
Well, thank you so much for the tour. We really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. I'm sure this information has helped a lot of people, especially the information about the smoke detectors. That's very important, everybody. Make sure that your smoke detector batteries have been changed. If you don't have one, or if you know someone who does not have a smoke detector, you can come up here and get one for free. Make sure that you call your local station and get those smoke detectors in. It's very important.
Yes, even if you can't, call 832-394-6600 and ask for public affairs or the Get Along Houston project, and they will refer you to us and we'll come out and take care of that. Again, one of the things I want to leave you guys with, the fire station is a city entity. This is your building. We belong to the citizens of Houston. So please come out, even though it's not a situation where you're calling for assistance. With the time, if you have the time, come out and meet the guys. We really respect that. We love that. So
come say hi. Thank you so much. That was great. Thanks again to Houston Fire Station 25, Mr. Albert Bennett, and everyone who had a hand in helping that very important conversation take place. We hope that you will take what was shared and apply it to keep your home safe. As we've stated before, breast cancer is not just a woman's disease. Men are affected as well and are dying from it. According to Komen.org, this year alone, it was estimated that among males in the United States, there will be 2,650 new cases of invasive breast cancer and 530 breast cancer deaths. While rates of new breast cancer cases and mortality are much lower among men than women, Black men have the highest breast cancer incidence among men overall. So it is important to take any changes to your body seriously. That's all for tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and be sure to keep those masks on. The next time I see you all, we will be just a few days away from gathering again on the Avenue.